Hello and welcome to another edition of Ideological. I am your host, Jacked Lee, and I am here with a personal trainer talking about health, my friend Keith Kimberlin. Keith, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, it's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Before we jump into the fun, I've got to give the disclaimers. So, one, by having Keith on the show, he is not necessarily endorsing anything else that I do. So if I do something bad, send me an angry email. I just delete it and not Keith. The other one is, because we're going to be talking about physical fitness and these kind of things, this information is for informational purposes only. Talk to a doctor, whatever, if you're going to work out so you don't get a heart attack and sue us. Okay, so with that out of the way, Keith, you are a personal trainer, also have a background with military stuff, done some private protection. Tell us just a little bit about who you are and your background, and then I've got some fancy questions for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started out my fitness journey, I guess you could say, started when I was a kid. My grandpa used to wake me up at 6 a.m. to go into his spare bedroom. He had a Bowflex in there. And that's kind of where my love of fitness began.
You're like, I love resistance exercises only, Bowflex.
Exactly.
This episode's brought to you by Bowflex.
Yep, I'll expect royalties for this.
Correct.
Yeah, so I'd go spend weeks of my summer with him, and he'd wake me up. And then when I got old enough, 12, I guess, we would start going to the gym. And it was just a crappy little gym in Paris, Texas, attached to a hospital, actually. The membership was like $8 a month or something like that. But I'd go in there and he would, to the best of his ability, just kind of guide me and lead me in what it was that he was doing. And I just really, really enjoyed that feeling of being sore the next day, even as a young kid.
Yes. Okay, so you've always been a masochist.
I've always been a masochist.
In that sense.
Yeah.
If you can't tell, we're in Texas where it's hot, so we're sweaty and there's like bugs attacking. So just, that's part of the training though. You've got to sweat it out. You don't need a sauna if you live in one.
That's part of the functional fitness lifestyle.
Correct.
Is you have to be in your garage. And if it's anything below 85 degrees, you're not doing it right.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as we get attacked by creatures, what inspired you to become a personal trainer, and how did your approach evolve over time?
Yep. So I became a personal trainer. I actually had no clue that personal training was an actual job. I thought that, there was football coaches, strength and conditioning coaches, things like that. But I never knew that there were just people that worked at gyms that got paid to help teach other people how to work out. But when I was in the military, so I was a medic in the military, but my collateral duty, which is just like an extra job, looks good on your resume, I was the command fitness leader.
Let's go.
So I was in charge.
We're having bourbon as we talk about health. It's good. It's good for the soul.
Good for the soul. Yep. So I was in charge of what was called the fatty platoon, which is all of the Marines and sailors that were not up to code when it came to physical fitness, whether they're, overweight, failing the run, failing whatever it was. And so I basically just, as a command fitness leader, was a personal trainer and didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
And then when I was getting out of the military, one of my friends was like, dude, you should be a personal trainer. And I was like, what's that?
Yes.
and he was like, you like a personal trainer, like you go to a gym, you work for the gym, people hire you to help them work out. And I'm like, that's what I'm already doing anyway. So I got certified while I was still in the military.
Okay.
And my philosophy on exercise has severely changed since I was a 23-year-old military personal trainer to now being a 35-year-old husband, father with 4 kids, back injuries and knee injuries and stuff like that. My philosophy has severely changed. I used to be, if you ever saw the show, The Biggest Loser.
Oh, yeah.
Right, like those guys, just knife hand in your chest.
Yeah,
get down and give me 50.
Who's it? Jillian and what's the other guy's name?
The big buff guy that always wore the tactical pants and stuff. Yeah, I forgot his name.
That's who you gotta be.
that was me, for a long time, and for a long time, my philosophy was like just beat them into the ground until they can't move anymore, and then they'll probably get stronger and lose some weight. And that has severely changed since then.
Yeah, that ends up with maybe some injuries later on.
100%.
You're crushing it, but when you're 40, you're like, oh, I can't move.
Yeah.
Okay, you do some things, to my understanding, different than most trainers. What sets your philosophy apart? You mentioned how you change your philosophy. In the military, it's like grind it out. And then working with civilians and such, it's like, no, there's some better methods here. Tell us a little bit about what makes your type of training unique.
Yeah. So my philosophy, I kind of equate it to almost political, right? So there's
it's very controversial what you do. Half the country hates it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really,
So you've got bodybuilders over here on the right, you've got CrossFitters over here on the left, and there's everything in between. And I find myself in the middle of that because my goal is not to just push, what I think is cool on you, right? Oh, I need you to bench 225 10 times and squat 300 pounds and deadlift 500
it's not about the
pounds.
marketing.
Exactly. It's not about the marketing. My goal is to help people who need to get in shape with minimal space and minimal equipment. Because I don't want to drive 20 minutes to the gym. I've got a family at home. I don't have time for all that. I'm trying to find the equipment that I need, and some lady's texting while she's sitting on it or whatever, right? And so my goal is to I ask people tons of questions, and I'm going to boil it down to, what do you really want to accomplish?
Yeah.
That's now my philosophy is, what do you want to accomplish? Okay. And what I've found, my brand, Anti Dad Bod Squad, which funny enough, I used to call it Wage War Fitness because Wage War is my favorite band.
Yeah.
It's just angry, screamy music that I listen to when I work out.
Perfect.
So I was like, oh yeah, Wage War on apathy, Wage War on laziness, and Wage War on excuses. And then I saw this shirt that said Anti-Social Sober Club. And I just, in my mind, I envisioned having my own shirts in it that said Anti Dad Bod. And then I was like, oh, Anti Dad Bod Squad. That'd be a cool thing. And so I ended up changing the name of my business to Anti Dad Bod Squad. But that's really the market that I've leaned into, because I feel like those are the people that need the most help.
Totally.
Right? Like the 18 to 20-year-old kid that's got the most testosterone he'll ever have in his life.
Right.
And he needs some guidance probably, that's fine. But like the people that I'm interested in helping are the people who need it.
Yeah.
And I don't want those people getting lost in the sauce, so to speak, on social media, because there's so many different things that can pull you in many different ways.
Yeah.
And then you end up with just this paralysis by analysis.
Totally.
You're just frozen because you're like, well, I don't know what to do, so I'm just not going to move at all.
Yeah, they're telling me opposite things. It's the same way you and I both do some shooting instruction. It's the same way there. I'll watch some video and I'm like, that will get somebody killed. That will not work in the real world. Like, it's the same kind of thing with that. So,
Instructor Zero is awesome, dude.
Yes. Oh, yes, exactly right.
All the balloons.
Yes. If you don't know who that is, don't worry about it. Okay. That's fantastic. What is a common belief or practice in the fitness world that you think is completely wrong? So just kind of an old wives' tale in the fitness world where everyone's like, you've got to do this. It's kind of like the, don't swim after eating kind of stuff. You're like, that's not true. What is one of those big beliefs in the fitness world that you'd like to call out?
Yeah. Probably the biggest one is, if you're not sore, you didn't get a good workout.
Okay.
Now, inherently, if you're coming from not working out at all or a certain type of exercise and you switch to a different type of exercise, you're going to be sore, and that's okay. But that's just because it's new to your body, and your body is trying to recover the damage that you just did from this activity that it's never done before. But as you go on in your fitness journey, you get stronger, and your body is able to handle the load that you're putting on it. There's going to come a point where you don't get debilitatingly sore anymore. Yeah. And people will purposefully try to destroy themselves because they just want to get that feeling of being sore. Yeah. But just because you're not sore doesn't mean you didn't get a good workout.
Are they doing more damage when they do that?
100% doing more damage, So I actually did that to myself because I've always been the skinny kid. Like when I was younger, I was,
Real quick, we're outside, there are flies, there's an airplane, there's somebody's like engine that's going on. I was like, this would be cool to do in the garage. Nope, we're sweaty, but that's what you're seeing. We're professionals, though. Sorry,
100%.
Back to you.
This is where I live.
Yeah, this is your jam. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's got to. If watching this doesn't stress you out a little bit, you're not ready to get in shape.
100%. Yeah, you don't deserve to be here. But yeah, I actually prevented myself from getting bigger because I was training so hard for so long that I was actually causing more damage, and my body wasn't able to repair itself in time before I just went and destroyed myself again the next day.
Interesting.
And that's what most people don't realize is you grow when you're resting. So if you're trying to build muscle, you're growing when you're sleeping. That's why sleep is so important
huge, yeah.
for fitness. So important. It's not the working out. The working out, you're putting little micro tears.
The working out's the damage. The healing is the sleep.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like when you break a bone and it grows back stronger in that spot. It's a similar concept with muscles. It just happens faster and you don't have to wear a cast.
Yeah, right? That's helpful.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. So if you're just constantly beating the crap out of yourself every single day thinking, yeah, I'm going to get so huge, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not. You're going to make yourself just get injured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's helpful, dude. Is there a fitness trend or piece of advice you see online that drives you crazy? Because you're kind of a combination of a personal trainer, but also a content creator. Again, check out Anti Dad Bod Squad, and you'll see his videos. And I mean, just mustache and muscles. That's what I call it. Just
Absolutely.
tats. And he's married, ladies, but sorry. What is like a very common thing that you see online that just drives you nuts? Like you see it and you're like, yeah.
Yep. If you want to lose weight, you want to burn fat, do more cardio. That is absolutely false.
Okay.
That is one of the things that, and it plagues mostly the female community, but just anybody who's overweight in general. For some reason, they think that they need to go start running.
Yeah.
And then they injure their knee running and they deem to never exercise again and it gets worse, right?
Yeah, right.
Or if it's not, I don't like running, but I got to get this cardio in. And they're just doing these long, drawn out cardio sessions with little to no weight training. And then they're wondering why 3-6 months down the road, they haven't lost any weight.
Yeah.
And it's usually because diet is what matters the most.
Yeah. It goes genetics, diet, working out. Is that correct?
100%.
And genetics is way above.
Yep.
And then diet and working out.
Yeah, genetics is way above.
Yeah.
You can defeat your genetics to a certain degree.
Yes.
But it's going to come with strict diet and being on a workout program.
Yeah. The deck is stacked against you, but you can do it.
The deck is stacked against you, but it's never going to be so insurmountable that you can't still lose weight or whatever, unless you just have some kind of crazy disease or disability or something. But generally, most of the population that blames their genetics, although it is a problem for them, they're just using that because they haven't done the work that it takes to figure out the proper plan to be on, because that's what it takes is a plan.
Yeah.
Right? But the strength training component is what's going to boost your metabolism so that you can burn more fat. So the more muscle that you have on your body, the higher your metabolism has to burn to feed that lean muscle.
Yeah.
And when you're doing these long drawn out cardio sessions, you got to realize that your body uses two fuel sources for exercise, whether you're doing anaerobic or aerobic, which would be, either weightlifting or running, right? But when you're running or just doing some kind of cardio, your body is not utilizing fat because that fat is not going to sustain the energy that it takes for you to do that long drawn out cardio session. It's kind of like, that scene in Titanic when they're like shoveling coal into the furnace of the ship. That would be like in that scene if they were just shoveling like paper into it. The ship would never get going because that paper wouldn't be there long enough to create enough heat to fuel the ship, right? So your body is using mostly your muscle stores at that point. When you're just long drawn out cardio sessions, your body starts to just eat itself.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
Which is why marathon runners look the way they do.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Right? Like, okay, so what should somebody do without giving away all the secret sauce? If somebody's watching this and they're like, hey, I kind of just want to lose weight. I've been doing cardio. I haven't seen results. What percentage of their workout should be weights versus cardio?
So 70-30 would be a good safe starting point.
Okay.
Most of your exercise, if you're just starting out and you're trying to lose weight, should be strength training.
Okay.
You need to build a foundation of lean muscle that's going to boost your metabolism, right? Now, you do need to do the cardio because, not to get too nerdy with it, I guess, but think about
you can, dude. We're all about nerdy stuff here.
Yeah, so think about if you're doing heavy squats or something, you start breathing really hard and you start sweating and your heart is just going. Well, why is that? It's because your muscles require oxygen. What delivers oxygen to the muscles? It's your blood. Well, what delivers the blood to the muscles. It's your heart pumping harder. And what gets the oxygen to the heart? You're breathing. So you start breathing harder and your heart starts pumping harder. So yeah, cardio is good. You still want to do cardio.
Yeah, but you're still getting cardio as you're doing weights if you're doing it right.
Still getting cardio as you're doing weights as long as you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
I love it. That's helpful. Can you share a success story where your unconventional approach, and I say unconventional, I think that's the way it's trending from what I've seen. The functional fitness stuff is, there's a lot of evidence to back that up.
Yeah.
Where your unconventional approach made a big difference. Maybe in somebody's life, your own life, you had the client that was, I don't know, 800 pounds and now they're 80 pounds, but they can't move because they're just swimming in skin. Whatever it is, dude, you tell me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I've got quite a few of those stories. I guess the one that sticks out the most, the biggest weight loss, I would say, was a lady. She's in her mid-40s, and she lost over 70 pounds within, it was 9 months, I think.
Let's go.
And
it's a huge baby to give birth to.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But she's an Indian lady, right? Which just inherently it is what it is. She's a vegetarian. Was struggling to get protein in, lifestyle stuff. She was just not able to lose weight on, the walks that they take after dinner and stuff like that. Well, we got her on a nutrition plan because that's one of the most important things. Is the nutrition plan was getting more protein into her. Even though she was vegetarian, we were finding other ways to get protein into her diet. And then we started strength training. And when I tell you she could not even lift a 5-pound dumbbell over her head, couldn't even lift a 5-pound dumbbell. And by the time we were done, she was repping 220 pounds.
You're laying across her arms. And she's
just pressing me up.
Yes.
She 220-pound dumbbells.
Let's go.
Just crushing it. Yeah. Right. And had lost 80 pounds. She sent me text messages of her and her husband on date night and like, thank you so much.
Oh, I love that.
Like just, stories like that. So I've got weight loss stories and that's great, but not everything's about weight loss. Sometimes people are okay with what they weigh. They just want to feel better and move better. Yeah. And I've got plenty of stories of people with just jacked up lower backs, knees, necks, just any joint you can think of, because they've been killing themselves in just a traditional commercial gym doing bench press and all that kind of stuff. And we switched to just kettlebells, dumbbells, and maces. Yeah. And all of a sudden their joints are feeling better. Yeah. They're not, they go to turn to get a cookie off the counter and their back seizes up, but now they're, they've got some core strength and they can do stuff like that without harming themselves.
Yeah, crazy how if you actually do the body's natural motions instead of types of lifts you never do in real life, how that can do
Correct.
that.
and that's what functional fitness is. That's my whole thing is functional fitness. And there's haters on functional fitness. Sure. Dr. Mike Isratelli, if you're familiar with him, he's this big, roided up bodybuilder guy. And I'm like, he's like, kettlebells only get so heavy. There's only so much that you can do with a kettlebell. And I severely disagree. I severely disagree. If your goal is to look like a bodybuilder, then kettlebells and functional fitness probably shouldn't be your thing. But that's why I said I'm not on the extremes of bodybuilding or CrossFit. I'm in the middle of what do you want to accomplish? Yeah. And most people that I'm working with, the dad bod guys that want to lose the dad bod, they just want to look better, feel better, move better.
That's right.
Most of those guys don't need to be squatting 400 pounds.
Right.
They need
because
to
hernias are real.
Exactly. They need to be moving their bodies as a unit instead of treating it like a collection of different muscle groups.
Correct.
So I do a lot of full body stuff.
Yes.
Like very rarely am I just gonna hammer my chest out today. Yeah. It's like most of my days are full body days.
Got it.
But that's what most dads that are just trying to be functional need is stuff like that.
Oh yeah. A lot of people, because there's a lot of back and forth on social media platforms of what type of working out or whatever. If you just define what the actual goal is, bodybuilder muscle looks great, but it's very different and not actually as healthy as other. Like I was watching some buds training because I interviewed some Navy SEALs and stuff on this, and I was watching some buds training. And when those guys are in buds, these are the best athletes in the world, and they'll be running with their shirts off, and they just kind of look like normal guys.
Yep.
Some are ripped, but others are overweight, and others are whatever. And you're like, what? How can they do 30 dead hang pull-ups in a row and 200 push-ups in a row and do it. It's their actual strength versus looks.
Yep.
And so a lot of it depends. If somebody's goal is, I just want to look jacked, that's going to be very different than I don't want to hurt, which is going to be very different than I want to lose weight or whatever it is.
Yep. It's hypertrophy, which is your muscles looking fuller, but not necessarily being stronger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to find somebody that looks the way you want to look.
Right.
And then figure out what kind of training it is that they typically do.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, if you want to look like a bodybuilder, you're going to have to do a lot of hypertrophy style training.
Yeah.
If you want to be a power lifter, you're going to have to do a lot of strength and explosive type training.
Yeah.
I don't care for either. I don't care to look like a bodybuilder. I don't care to look or be as strong as a power lifter. I just want to be able to play with my kids and look good at the beach with my shirt off.
Yeah.
You
Dude,
know?
throw them in the water so far. Like scary far, where they're like, not again.
Yep.
Okay, so if I want to look like Shaq, I'm just kidding. Okay, what is something you've had to unteach a client that they learned from another trainer or influencer online?
Yeah, that's mostly around diet.
Okay.
Because again, diet is the crux of all of this. You can't outrun the fork. You can't outlift a bad diet. I don't care how wonderful or perfectly programmed your training schedule is with a crappy diet. It's all for naught. And so another big problem with social media is, I lost 40 pounds on paleo. My sister lost 50 pounds on carnivore. And there's all these names for these diets. And when I say diet, I don't mean paleo, carnivore, Mediterranean, whatever. I mean just what goes in your mouth. That's your diet, is what you eat in a day without all the fancy names.
Right.
But almost every one of my clients will say something like, well, what do you think about carnivore? I was thinking about starting carnivore, or insert fad diet here. And they'll say something like, well, because my sister lost X amount of pounds on it. I'm like, you know why your sister lost pounds on it? Because she was finally being held accountable by something.
Right.
The diet that works is the one you can stick to.
That's right.
If you can pick a diet, and I'm not promoting any of, carnivore, keto, or whatever. If anything, I'd say Mediterranean or paleo. Mediterranean or paleo, for anybody who just really has to attach a name to something, those would be the two that I would recommend starting with. But what I mean is, just if you start carnivore, they're going to tell you, stop eating candy.
Yeah.
Stop eating, stop drinking Dr. Pepper. They're going to make you stop eating all this processed food, and you're going to be focusing on meat or whatever it is for that diet. Yeah. And all of a sudden, this person who has cut out all of this processed food is saying, oh, carnivore made me lose 40 pounds.
Yeah, you're like, no, accountability. Yeah, dude, I heard a doctor say this. Tell me if you agree with this. He just said, listen, dieting and losing weight is nothing other than math. It is calories in and calories out. So he said the problem is most people that do a diet, they do it for, let's say, a few weeks or a few months, they lose weight, and then something like 90-something% end up gaining it back because it's not a sustainable lifestyle. He's like, this is just, you need to find not a diet that's really hard for a month and then you gain all the weight back 6 months later. Yep. You need to find a lifestyle where calories out match or go below calories in, depending on whether you're trying to lose weight or stay at your weight. And that is, calories are calories. Like, you can do it in a cupcake or you can do it in several loaves of bread or whatever it is. No, it wouldn't be several loaves of bread, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Or you can't. So give me your thoughts on this though. I have heard that you can outrun the fork, but it's unrealistically high. Like Michael Phelps will burn 15,000 calories a day training.
Yeah.
But he's swimming all day at the highest level possible.
Yeah.
Could the average person do it, or would it just be...
The average person doesn't have time to do it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Michael Phelps and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson eating his 10,000 calorie cheat day or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are paid to do what they do.
Yeah.
They have the time to outrun the fork if they eat a bunch of calories.
Yeah.
The average dad or mom who works a full-time job, has to get the kids fed and get to the grocery store, and Timmy's got to go to soccer practice. That guy doesn't have time to outrun the fork.
Got it.
And so he has to make the fork work in his favor.
Got it.
Instead of trying to outrun it. But yeah, so calories in, calories out. There's some more nuance to that as to the quality quality of the calorie.
And what your body does, like certain things will cause your insulin to do this. And so it is more complicated.
Correct.
But yeah. Okay.
And if you've got sensitivities or allergies that are causing bloating or different, so there's some little factors that could throw that off. But generally speaking, yes, calories in versus calories out. Now, your macros, your protein, fat, and carb numbers that make up your total calorie count, that needs to be shifted, right? Because if you just eat, let's say your number of calories you're trying to hit is 2,000 calories, right? And you just eat 2,000 calories every single day of sugar, right? If you're burning more than 2,000 calories, you will still lose weight, but you're going to look disgusting.
Yeah, you're going to feel disgusting. 2,000 calories of sugar a day is insane.
Exactly. So that's why I say, like, you got to be careful. It's not just calories in, calories out, because yes, that matters for your overall weight, but for how you want to look and feel, the numbers matter, right? So that's why you should be aiming for a certain protein, carb, and fat goal. That gets you to whatever that total calorie number you should be at.
Got it.
Yeah.
I love it. If you could bust one fitness myth forever, which one would it be?
Go hard or go home.
Okay.
That's a big one for,
Well, there goes that t-shirt.
Yeah.
Just gonna throw that away, I guess.
Go hard or go home.
All my t-shirts are the opposite of what you say. They say things like paleo only and go hard or go home.
Yeah. But, go hard or go home. So here's the thing is with my clients, I just need you to be consistent. And you're probably not going to consistently go hard or go home.
Yeah.
Just not going to happen. But I would rather you have 4 days in a row of 70% effort than twice a week at 100% effort, right? I would rather you have more of those less effort days than a few of the high caliber days, right? Because again, if you're a dad, mom, full-time job, there's stress, you might not have slept well the night before or whatever. You're just not going to always have the go hard or go home mentality. And that's where people will die by paralysis by analysis. They will just,
I'll only work out when I can go all the way. Which now you're on a business trip and you're in a hotel and it's hard. Or when you get older, you can't. You will break something. And so there's an element to where some is better than none. All's great, but you can't always do all. Yeah, that's
100%.
good. That's really good. Do you think social media has helped or hurt people view health and fitness? I mean, it's probably some of both, but which one do you think it is more of?
Yeah, it's definitely both. If I had to say which one is it more of, I would say more good. Because I know I used to do this. Before I would go into the gym to work out, I would literally pull up videos of Ronnie Coleman and just like watch these. You can literally type in motivational Ronnie Coleman and it's like some dude who just like stitched together a bunch of Ronnie Coleman going, yeah, baby. Ain't nothing but a peanut, lightweight. And it's just him working out with like heavy metal in the background. And you're like,
wage war.
Right. Exactly. Wage war. But, is there also some unhelpful videos out there that are teaching you something that's probably super inaccurate? But there's the spread of information on the internet is obviously both good and bad. But the spread of the good, I think, outweighs the bad because at least it's getting some people to do something. And, if they start trying whatever this was and maybe it didn't work, hopefully they go find another way. But I think the motivation that it's gotten, because I get a lot of those comments on a lot of my videos is like, man, I wasn't going to work out today, but I'm fired up now. And I'm like, okay, there you go. That was one guy.
And a lot of these are quick. It's like, hey, full body killer workout, 15 minutes. And you're like, I have 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
For someone just starting their fitness journey, what's the most important thing to focus on? So let's say, not like the client you just mentioned, the goal is specifically to lose weight, but somebody's like, you know what? I'm tired of not being fit. I'm going to go do something. I don't really know. Do I join a gym? Do I watch videos? Do I go to the garage and let the flies attack us and the birds caw and all the things? Like everything is stacked against us today for some reason. What advice do you give for that newbie?
Get on a plan. That is kind of like I've been saying is consistency. I would rather you have consistency over just a few random good days here or there. Getting on a plan eliminates your need for motivation. Because if you're on a plan, it could, Monday, and it's here's your plan for Monday. And you're like, crap, I really don't feel like doing this. And if you don't have a plan, you won't do it. But if you have a plan and you have a coach or somebody that you're accountable to who's expecting you to accomplish that day, you're going to do it because you don't. It's funny how people will let themselves down a lot easier than they'll let somebody else down.
That's interesting. Yeah, right? That's true.
And so if you are on a plan, the chances of you skipping a day or whatever are a lot lower. And plus, it's going to keep you from just winging it because winging it isn't going to help you at all. Now, if you go from sitting on the couch to winging it, you'll probably lose a couple of pounds in the first month or two, but there's going to come a time where those results plateau because your body, now that it's used to at least getting up and doing something, you're winging it. It's going to get used to that, and it's going to say, okay, what's next? And that's where progress is made, is in that what's next phase, right? So that's why phases on a plan will help you not just do the same thing. So you don't look like one of those Zumba ladies, right? Like you see at Lifetime, these Zumba ladies come and they look exactly the same as they did 2 years ago when they started the class. And it's because
this episode's brought to you by Zumba. Zumba, do a real workout.
Jazzercise. It's just but if you do the same thing forever, you will never change. So getting on a plan prevents you from plateauing because the coach is going to scale your phases of that program, and it's going to prevent you from just, I don't feel like it today.
Dude, let's talk about, so this isn't one of the questions, this is just a tack on for what you're saying that I think is really important. And guys like Jocko talk about this a lot. Discipline trumps everything. It trumps not just, not only does it equal freedom, because when you discipline yourself, for example, to play the piano, you actually have the freedom to play it. You don't have freedom before then. Same way with working out. But there's also an element where he just talks about motivation doesn't matter because motivation comes and goes. The whole thing about discipline is it's a plan. It's something you have to do. It's something you make yourself do. And so he talks about, again, being in buds, and he's like, if success was based on motivation, no one would make it. When you haven't slept for 5 days and you're slurring your speech and you're like freezing cold, there's no motivation. You just get back in the water because they said get back in the water. And so there's something to even having a plan that is not super difficult is better than no plan. Working 100%. Out is not like, which is actually interesting with the functional fitness thing. It's not like trying to get a 1 max rep on a bench press, right? That's not life. Life is thousands of reps of something lighter all the time. And so thoughts on the discipline stuff, the motivation stuff. And then I also want to get if you say choose a plan, because some of the plans we said are not great. Is that one, what do you favor? I know you like kettlebells, body weight stuff. Give us some thoughts. If people want to go look up plans online or whatever, where would you gently prompt them to go?
So the discipline part, I think it was Zig Ziglar that said motivation's like a shower. You need one every day. Like motivation is something that if you're relying on motivation, good luck. Like you're going to need to every single day figure out some way to motivate yourself. But if you just discipline yourself to do something when you don't feel like doing it, then there's freedom in that because now you're not relying on motivation. It becomes a habit. Right. And that goes for so many things, whether you're trying to pick up reading or fitness or a better diet or whatever. If you can break yourself of some of the bad habits that you have, and it's a lot easier said than done. Right? Like it's not easy to just like, I guess I'll be disciplined now.
No, right? You have to practice. This is like Aristotle's virtue ethics thing. You have to practice something when you're not good at it, and then you get good at it. Same way with discipline. So if somebody's listening and they're thinking, man, I want to work out, but I don't feel like I'm very disciplined. There's a lot of days where I feel lazy and whatever. Of course you're not good at discipline now. You haven't practiced it. You're not going to go be able to hit a major league curveball or play the flute today either. You have to practice it. And so it's the same way with discipline. For me, it was interesting because I did not work out much when I was a young adult, and then I work out a lot now. but it's not primarily even for the physical. Yes, I feel better. Yes, I sleep better. Yes, when I get sick, I heal faster. All those things are huge benefits. Yes, it looks like you can grade some cheese on these apps, but that's not it. The main thing for me was the mental. Like, even if I never got stronger or faster, I would still work out because it did something to me where I'm like, I don't want to do this and it hurts. And the application of that to other areas of life. I don't want to do this, but I have to. I don't want to go to this meeting, but I need to. I don't want to read this book, but I'm going to discipline myself to do so. It's not about the working out. It's about the kind of person you become. Yes, some of it's about the workout. I'm not trying to die from a heart attack at 39, but also like so much of it's the mental side. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the mental benefits, personal benefits. I think most people are a slave to some voice inside them that's not them. Instead of them telling their body what to do. What are your thoughts?
Yep, I call it callousing your mind. The same way you grow calluses on your hands when you do a bunch of deadlifting or kettlebell stuff, you're definitely going to get some calluses on the hands.
Ladies, wear gloves. Just for the guys.
Yeah. Guys, no.
Yeah.
So callousing your mind is the same. The same way that the constant tension on your palms creates those calluses, you've got to do that to your brain as well. Yeah. And that's what discipline is when you have been able to callous yourself away from needing constant motivation. And so forcing yourself to do something hard every day. I make fun of David Goggins a lot. He's an interesting character for sure. But I do love some of his philosophy around do something that sucks every day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be in the gym. You don't have to go do 1,000 pull-ups because that would probably suck. But, just something that you don't want to do, do it every day.
Yeah.
And I forget the name of the admiral that wrote the book Make Your Bed. That was actually a speech. McCraven, yeah. That's what I was going to say. Raven, but I was
that's close. It's more of an Irishy Raven.
Yeah. But that Make Your Bed, you get up and you make your bed, and from that instant, you feel like a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
And now the rest of your day is probably going to get better.
You started your day by doing something you didn't really want to do, which wasn't major.
Yep.
But you have said, the day doesn't happen to me.
Yep.
I decide how the day goes. And then he mentions how even if you have a bad day, at least you have a good bed to go home to. Like if you have a terrible day, at least it's made. It's not the whole thing where like one sheet. Anyway. So, that's great, dude.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more for you, and then anything else you want to add. But where do you see the fitness industry heading in the next 5 to 10 years? So there's been a lot of changes recently in the fitness industry, just like in the medical industry. Where do you see it headed?
Yeah, I see the fitness industry heading to a lot more people staying at home.
Okay.
I think that's one of the good benefits of social media is you don't have to now go to a gym to get a personal trainer anymore. Now there's some people who they don't want to just follow a plan online, or like they really want that physical interaction with a person or whatever. But I think for a lot of the people who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that don't have time to go to the gym, busy professionals or whatever, I think there's going to be a wave of a lot more people staying at home, realizing that it's not very expensive to put together a gym, because that's another myth I guess I would bust if you asked me to, would be you don't need a gym full of hundreds of machines.
Yes, the machines.
How many of them do you use?
Right.
Like you walk in and it looks intimidating if you're new, and if
you got that person that's not doing it right. It's the pull down and they've got like one leg over it. And I'm like, all right, this guy,
exactly.
I'm filming you without you knowing.
Yep, you're ending up on the fail army page.
Yes, that's right.
Like you don't need all that stuff. Like think about the things that you actually use, and then what can you mimic? What movements can you mimic with that at home?
Yeah.
That's why I love kettlebells so much. Just the center of gravity on a kettlebell, I think personally is unbeatable for a single tool. Now you put together some fancy machines that do a bunch of different stuff. Obviously that's different, but for a single tool, an affordable tool that somebody can buy, put it in their garage, there's so many things that you can do with kettlebells.
Yeah.
And then dumbbells and maces as well. I mean, that's all I have at home is that. I don't have anything else.
Yeah.
And, I think I'm doing okay for myself.
Yeah. We're going to have you go ahead and take off your shirt for the, so no, I think that's super helpful. Curveball question, Tybo, how great is it? Billy Blanks, just kidding. Any other thoughts you have that you want to share? Just things that you think will be helpful, myths that you've seen, something you're passionate about when it comes to this, advice to people, just any kind of final, obviously check out his stuff at Anti Dad Bod Squad on the different social media channels and such. But anything else that people might find helpful that you just want to share?
Yeah, I think you asked me a minute ago, and I didn't get to it, about where to go.
Oh yeah, the plans.
For plans and stuff, because I really think like that is the biggest thing for a new person is don't just wing it. Get on a plan. And I mean nutrition and fitness. And it doesn't have to be that expensive, right? I think that's a thing that pushes a lot of people away is the cost.
Right.
But it's probably cheaper than your gym membership over time. For sure.
And the things that are good for you in the grocery store are typically not the things. The expense comes when you try to do like an online meal plan where they have to deliver meals to you.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you can go buy a banana, like they exist. They're in stores. They'll even let you have one if you give them some money. And it's like, or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yep. And you can make it really expensive, I guess, if you want to. It just doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
So another good thing about social media is there's so many fitness coaches online. I like I said earlier, find somebody that aligns with what your goals are. So, not to be biased, but me, if you're, in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and you're looking to get in shape with minimal space and minimal equipment, that's my whole deal.
Yeah.
Right. Now I also have clients who they have access to full gyms and they want to go use them. So I can write those kind of programs as well.
Yeah.
But find somebody who looks like you want to look, and has a philosophy that you can actually get behind.
Again, Shaq and Kant.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. So I don't know where you'll find that guy.
Yeah, he doesn't exist.
Yeah. But, because there's so many of these grifters online these days that they're shooting themselves full of steroids, and so they're huge, and they look like you want to look.
Oh, Liver King.
Yeah, liver king, right? And so that's why I don't just say just find somebody who looks like you want to look, right? There's more to it than that. But I also don't believe in taking advice from fat personal trainers.
Yeah.
Right? Like I want the person who I'm buying a program from.
It should work for them too.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Do as I do, not as I say.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But the philosophy behind why they're telling you what they're telling you needs to match why you're there.
That's good.
Because if they are just saying you should do this so that you can look like me, well, that's not necessarily my only goal is to just look like you. Yeah. Like, how's your back?
Right.
How's your knee pain? Because I got a thing going on here. So like they need to have a philosophy that lines up with what you want to accomplish, not just what they feel like you should accomplish.
That's good.
So find somebody online and just ask them a lot of questions.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, Keith Kimberlin, thank you for being on the show. Again, check him out on the different social media channels. I think we can even include a post to that in the video. Thanks so much for coming on Ideological and teaching us how to be jacked and healthy and not have knees blown out and such.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right, we'll see you next time.